everybody, happy Friday. It's Steve again. I just wanted to address something I just noticed. The reviews coming in about the new Coming to America 2. A lot of people have anticipated. This was like a childhood movie for a lot of the 70s and 80s kids. For the 90s kids, it was something that they were introduced to as well. There's a lot of catchphrases, quotes. It's a super quotable movie. It's incredible. It's just hilarious, groundbreaking. It's Eddie Murphy at its finest. Something that today's generation aren't privy to. Without going back in time and watching those old movies, you really don't understand the genius that is Eddie Murphy. But and Arsenio Hall and everybody else that's involved in the production. I mean, he's not alone in that, but we got to give him credit where credit's due. That dude is amazing, right? But the new movie is getting panned, and a lot of would-be diehard fans, whatnot. Right now, IMDb has it at a 5.6, I believe. Let me go back. 5, 6 out of 10. And so when you're in the 5, 6 range for a comedy, it's mediocre. It's in the middle. Let me not say mediocre. No, that's not true. It's funny, but it in a cheesy way. And I haven't seen the movie yet. I plan on watching it this weekend. But what I wanted to address is how hard it would be to make a movie this day and age. And I think that's what's happening is that a lot of people were expecting the funniest thing you've ever seen, like that Coming to America 2 would be twice as funny as 1. And if time has taught us anything, is that that's not the case because the initial impact of those films, the writings, the script, the screenplay, it's all gone. That's you already know what you should be expecting, so it would be hard to overcome that. Think any part two. Rarely do part twos equate to a better film. But the rehashing of this, I think, is something that people weren't ready for because we've also evolved in comedy. Right now, comedy is more dick and balls, craziness, slapstick, violent. Action comedy is the new thing. Not the new thing, I can't say that. Action comedy has kind of trumped traditional comedies, like Woody Allen to, say, what was the Jungle movie? I can't think of it. The movie with Robert Downey Jr. I'm the dude playing a dude that looks like another dude. That movie. When you look at, and I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this right now, but that movie was everything and wrapped into one. It was action. It was comedy. It was somewhat of a horror movie like that. Some of the scenes were insane, but it was a powerhouse, right? And we've reached pinnacles when we hit a movie like that. When you get a movie that has everything, it's hard to overcome the brevity of that in life. Man, that movie was incredible and it sticks with you forever. You go back to Coming to America, and if you rewatch the old one, like most 80s movies, we've built them up to be more than what they are. And we have to think of how hard it would be to make a movie like that. Like anything to produce that level of comedy and address the things that Eddie Murphy was able to address in that movie, but do it now without getting a fucking lawsuit, without offending everybody. It's near impossible. You know how hard it would be to serpentine through everybody's fucking feelings right now writing a script? I know when I do writing gigs, oh my God, if it's so impossible. I can't offend this group and I can't offend that group. I don't know what to do. It's damn near impossible. Or to write content. If I'm building a site for a customer, it's so hard to aim your focus at clearly just the content and avoid at all costs any type of inference to sex, to religion, to gender, to all these things, because we have been hypersensitized to them. We are overly aware of what's going on. And the problem is that some things do need to change, like racism and outright sexism and the privilege that comes with racism and sexism on both fronts does need to be addressed. But I don't think that everybody is our enemy. We've turned everybody into an enemy. So imagine how hard it would have been for Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall and the writers and all that to get together to come up with a movie that would rekindle the amazing feeling that you got watching part one and avoid alienating one fucking group of people. One group, the single fingered, left hopping, right hand driving, midgets of Zimbabwe are now a group that we need to, watch out for. It just sucks, man. Like it just sucks. I can't imagine how hard it is for any comedy writer to just do one of two things. Think about those people and think cognitively about how do you prevent yourself from offending some micro group, and burn your comedy in the process, or say fuck everyone and be the most offensive piece of shit you can because you're sick of being PC. And that's got to be a horrible divide for these people. It has to be. So that's why a lot of these remakes are panning, is because the studio has thrown a lot of money into this, production investors, and they all have to, hey, well, maybe, if I give you money, I don't want to be associated if you offend this group, and if I give you money, I don't want you to offend these investors, and then if I give you money, then I don't. And at the end of the day, how the fuck do you make a movie these days? How? I can't even imagine. I could not imagine how hard it would be to dive down and say, I'm going to make a comedy that doesn't offend anyone, that it's just funny to everyone and no one's offended. It's a mathematical fucking improbability. There's no way you could do it. There's no way. If you could think of a movie that doesn't offend anyone, that there is no sexism, not one bit, there's no racism, there's no bigotry of some kind, there's no pure displays of privilege, there's no group right now that's inflamed that could watch that movie and collectively, if you took all these micro groups of potentially offended people and you stuck them in the room, find me a fucking movie that anybody could all agree on. I dare you. I dare you. I did film critiquing for a while, for a small business I was involved in, and then I freelanced for other companies, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I watched movies like crazy. And as a photographer and a videographer and whatnot, I at least took the technical standpoint. I did enjoy some movies that, I could critique movies and separate the two: the quality of the making of the film, the quality of the audio, the quality of the production versus the acting versus the writing, and I could try to dissect those things, and I was usually pretty lenient unless it was like a fucking terrible movie. And there are some terrible movies. I just don't think this is going to be one of them. I think this is going to be a mid-ground, mid-of-the-road, pretty funny, cute, that maybe you can show most people without hurting anybody and whatnot, but not offending people. Like, avoiding the process of offending people and comedy are just two roads that just rarely intersect. It's fucking impossible because stereotypes are funny. Some stereotypes are not racist. I'm not offended by a lot of shit that I see. There's some things that are real racist. They're like, if a guy's wearing a fucking Klan hat and he's coming at me with a hammer, then that's different. But if it's like, the Onion did a movie a long time ago, and it was, or actually, no, not The Onion. I'm sorry. The Kentucky Fried Movie did a joke about Puerto Ricans, and it was one of the funniest things ever. Because it was like, hey, look up there. It's a Puerto Rican from hanging from a beam. And there's a dude, and it was like he was super glued by his helmet to a beam in a building. And as a kid, I thought that was the funniest damn thing ever. And when I got older, I just loved that we got an honorable mention in a comedy that came out back then. I wasn't offended that the only honorable mention that we got was that we could dangle from beams, steel beams on high rises and shit. I wasn't offended by that because I was just glad that we got a fucking mention. And like, I feel like we've evolved to like, well, if we're going to get a mention, it better be that we're the biggest, baddest motherfuckers in the room. And it's like, no, how about we could just be funny? Well, let comedy be fucking comedy. Let the guy that wrote that, and if you don't like it, then don't fucking watch it. But why did you people have ruined it? You super sensitive bitches have just ruined this thing. It just sucks because it's like nobody has an opinion anymore. And again, I emphasize that there is a clear, definitive difference between real sexism and real racism, or making fun of it. Like you can't make fun of it. Like just the other day, this is separate. A cop in Tampa got fired for using the N-word with a black kid when he's black, and he was talking like, that's my homeboy. And growing up as a Puerto Rican in the Bronx, N word is just thrown around because that's our thing to each other. Like that's my boy, that's my N word, and it's just a thing. It just exists in perpetuity. And if you listen to today's music, today's hip hop, it's riddled with it, right? Because hip hop has always been riddled with it because it is a term of somewhat endearment. It lives just in this floating, undefined nature to some, and then to others, it's the end all be all. And it's like I didn't grow up like that. I grew up in the Bronx. We had bigger problems. I grew up getting shot at. I grew up with crazy shit. You think I was gonna be offended if another brown person was like, "Yo, what up, my dude? Papa, give me a hug." I'm like, "Yo, don't call me that. Golly G Willikers, get the fuck out of here, man. We have bigger fucking problems. We got bigger problems, and I think we just need to stop this because ever since that thing happened, I have to watch everything that I say now, and I have to watch everything that I do, and I'm the target. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm the target. I'm the one that has to worry when a cop pulls over and then 3 more fucking cop cars pull up. You don't have to worry about that. Don't be offended for me. Don't get in that boat. Don't say, "You know what, I'm here for you." No, stop the cops. Stop the corporate slavery. Stop the important things. We could work on the fucking N-word later. We could address that later, but because you stamped down and ruined and stomped and mushed into the ground everything that mattered and everything that even didn't matter, all of a sudden you end up with a bland fucking comedy like this that just skates the ground. It's the fucking the off-brand mayonnaise of comedy. Why? Because it has to ricochet off of every offended person's focus group, and that's it. That's it. I was one of those focus groups. So I would have to screen some of these movies, and it was fucking painful. Because they would be like, "Oh, were you hurt by that? Were you offended?" I'm like, fuck no. 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 All right, that was a little rough. It would take a lot for me to be like, hey, like the movie Mother. I watched that movie Mother, and there's a scene where like a baby gets ripped in half, and I think that's the wildest shit I've seen in the film, right? But watching that movie was frustrating because the build up and all of that, and that you would have to be a fucking theological study to understand the end of that movie and where it was leading to. And I feel like most audiences don't really give a shit to get that deep into a film. And it's a good movie. It's just it wasn't my movie. I didn't really like it. It took too much investment, and there was too much of a build up and too much of a Groundhog's Day. But the bloodbath at the end was biblical, literally biblical. And why? Because they had the artistic freedom to pull that off. I haven't heard anybody bitch about that movie. There's a baby that gets torn in half in that movie. A baby. No one says shit about it. Nobody. Oh, it's kind of a movie. It's artistic freedom. Really? Where the fuck are you critics about that? Like, that's okay to visualize? But 2 people of the same culture, from the same hood, giving each other 5. Yo, what up, my dude? The N-word ending in an A is that's saying my brother, that's saying my dude. And that's, you could debate that all day long. That's how we grew up. If you grew up different, that's you. But to say that you're the definitive stopping point in that is to say that, like, that just ruins everything for everyone else. It just ruins everything. You've redetermined the impact of every word and every meaning and every noun and every pronoun and all these other things. And what happens is we are now stuck with movies like this where you are just cleansed and ripped and shredded. And all of a sudden you got a bunch of shit on TV that you don't like. We've got an infinite amount of content. I got an Apple TV with like 5,000 channels, right? HBO Max, all those other channels. I mean, there's just thousands, literally thousands of digital channels now in comparison to the days of cable or solely cable, solely traditional coax cable. Now you look at digital streams and man, there's a channel for everything. There's literally a channel for everything because everybody now needs to be in their own lane. You need to operate in your own lane so that you don't offend somebody in that lane and that you can work in this realm. And now it's just all the only thing you could ever watch that doesn't offend anyone now is home rehab shows, HGTV. Everybody can watch that and be like, that's a really nice counter. I think it's an open concept, and it's an open concept. Man, get the fuck out of here. Sometimes I want to see a dude take a hammer to another guy's face so I can laugh diabolically and be like, ha, and then they make a joke out of it. Like Deadpool. We're going to get to the point, we're going to look back at Deadpool, and then Ryan, what's his face, is going to get fucking canceled. We're going to look at movies like that, and you're going to say, oh, golly gee willikers. You're going to cancel Mel Brooks for History of the World. Wait till you fuckers discover that movie. Wait till you see History of the World and listen to the song The Inquisition. That's the shit I grew up on. I wasn't offended by that. It's just comedy. Fucking enjoy it, but stop ruining everything, because then you're forcing Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall and the producers and the backers to never get behind good, incredible, funny shit anymore. You can't do it. You incredibly funny. And I hate that I'm 7 steps ahead right now, and I hate how cleansed and how dissected everything is, because when you look at it from a film critic standpoint, you realize there's a trend. There's a trend of shitty movies coming out, and then the really good stuff you got to go searching for. There are movies you never fucking hear about because no one will back it because they're worried it's going to offend someone. That's your fucking fault. That's it. It ain't nobody else's fault. No one else is talking that shit. No one else is admitting that the reason why all of our things are being cleansed and wholesome and friendly is not because we want it. It's because they don't want to be fucking ostracized. No one wants to be outed for backing a movie that might have had a dick joke that someone in the fucking trailer park took the wrong way. Come on, man. Like, we need to stop. Fuck you. If you don't like it, click, turn the shit off. Go to the HGTV channel. Don't ruin comedy for me. Don't ruin horror for me. You know? Could you make The Hills Have Eyes now on a where it would get a 7.0 on IMDb? No, you couldn't. Nope. Not that you would get backers for it. You could make it, but you would never get backers for it because no one wants to be associated with things that are offensive. No one's getting behind it. That's why you're not finding any big actors doing these risky movies, because you can't tie yourself to a risky movie, because you can't tie yourself to something that 10, 15 fucking years from now you're going to get outed for. The way he talked to that girl before he cut her head off was really offensive. I agree. Get the fuck out of here, man. Wake up. Grow up. Put your big girl pants on or big boy pants on and turn the channel. Change it. Why does everybody have to conform to your... This is why people got behind Trump. Because they were so sick of this shit that they went over there. Even though that shit was wrong and full of lies, they'll take it because it gave them the freedom to just be the jerk-offs they wanted to be. And that ain't right. But that's our reaction. We are a reactionary culture. And until we stop doing that, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. I just know that TV is going to continue to suck. And every time you remake a fucking classic that you love, it's going to suck ass just like this. And you're going to be all, well, that wasn't as funny as I thought it would be. I know why. It's because it has to be cleansed for your enjoyment. It has to be. It has to be cleansed so that a person that watches CMT and a person that watches MTV has a kid that can look at both of their parents and say, no, this is good, wholesome. That's it. It's just and that's a terrible simplification. I apologize for that. It's just that we are so activated as a whole when the majority of us don't even say shit. The silent majority is having our voices overran because we're just too busy to go, wait, I don't agree with right-wing media at all anymore. I don't, because it's no more like about conservative values. It's now just propaganda and how to sell shit and steal money from you. I know because I used to write their content. I'll get into that in another video. Listen, that shit is, those are lies, right? But on this side, it's not everything is going to be sunshine and rainbows. Not everything, other than my kick-ass lighting, thank you very much, Not everything is going to be sunshine and rainbows for you. Not everything is. We can't make everybody pay a price. I think we're going to have to just try to encourage behaviors that find a middle ground. Like, if I hurt your feelings, that doesn't mean that I physically assaulted you. Those are big fucking differences, and we don't seem to find common ground on that. Like, now we have misconstrued words, and now we have labeled people that may have offended you 10 years ago into assaulters, and outing them and canceling them and burning them into the fucking ground. And I just don't find it to be right. I don't think that that's okay. Not if it didn't mean that you had a really negative experience. Like, if you just got your feelings hurt, eh. But if you like Britney, that's different. I mean, everybody, that girl went nuts. Look at her now. Her life fell apart and she's living in a prison. That's a different story. That's a different story. You know, you take an emotionally, someone that's right teetering there because of all the fame, and then you amplify all of that. Come on, man, that's fucked up. You don't do that. But take the average person who isn't going through all of that, that doesn't have millions of dollars and doesn't have a fucking team of people trying to protect you and just has to work every goddamn day. Sometimes when you get off of work, you want to pop a beer, fucking hang out, smoke a cigarette, whatever the shit you do, and enjoy whatever comedy or movie or fucking something. You know, every night me and my wife, we watch Golden Girls. And when I say that, you think that, oh, that is the most feminine thing ever. I dare you watch Golden Girls. That's one of the most offensive TV shows in the history of mankind. Those four women in that house say shit that would land them in actual prison. Go back and watch that show. I'm going to find clips and I'm going to do a review of how offensive Golden Girls would be. There are black jokes, there's Jewish jokes, there's white guy jokes, there's bigotry jokes. Like, they attack people head on back in the day, like Sanford and Son and like all that. Balls of steel. Commentary that you couldn't pull off today without getting your card pulled, man. And you getting canceled and you getting labeled a sexist or you getting labeled anti-LGBTQ. There's a whole episode I watched the other night that I'm like, you play that shit today on national TV? Oh my God. The actress, long dead, would have been pulled out of her grave, and then they would have mauled her. The community that she offended would have mauled her, because that's just the lives that we live now. Is everybody's hypersensitive. So I'm done. Watch the movie if you want, and if you don't, you watch a preview and you realize it isn't for you, then fucking don't watch it. Don't watch it. Post down below, man. Tell me what you think. I'm gonna watch it. I don't know when, but I'm gonna watch it. I've just been on like a sci-fi kick for the last couple of months, and got no interest in like goofy comedy. You know, like if it's gonna be comedy, it's gonna be like funny, crazy. You know, like Six Underground type. You know, like where it's action, shit blows up, and there's like a boob, and then you have like a great time, like an all-in-one type of movie. I'm all for. But like cutesy, funny, you know, lovey-dovey movies, I usually save that to watch with my wife. And I don't even do that. What I do is that I put it on, and then I watch her, and I watch it for a few more minutes, and then I watch her, and she blacks out. Then I grab the fucking remote, and I change the channel. It's brilliant. Comment down below if you want, you know. Don't post anything douchey. I'm not going to fucking let it sit. I will cancel you. Long live cancel culture. Anyways, have a good one.